Before starting engines checklist.
Before starting engines checklist, seat, pedals, belts, and harnesses.
Adjust and fasten pilot.
Adjust and fasten co-pilot. Batteries.
On arm pilot.
On-armed co-pilot. Oxygen system smoke goggles.
Checked pilot.
Checked co-pilot. Now here to check the oxygen system smoke goggles, first you'll release the mask and adjust the top strap. Check the goggles for their condition and set the flow to 100%. Pull the vent valve, don the mask, and inhale and exhale, checking the flow indicator on the hose. Momentarily set the flow to emergency, check for positive pressure and vent flow. Don and check goggles and select oxygen mask. Check the transmit and receive to other crew members. Select the comm switch to normal, remove the mask, close the vent valve, and stow. Now you notice how I'm stowing the mask in the clip. This is the proper way to stow it. This is an example of improper stowage of the mask. You'll notice that it doesn't allow quick release of the mask. Okay, continuing with the checklist. Radio masters.
On.
Comm panel.
Checked pilot.
Checked co-pilot. Here the sub switches of the comm panel. Auto should be as required. That allows you to monitor whatever radio the wafer selector is set on. Audio mute is normal. Radio selector as required, depending on whether you want to transmit and receive either UHF or VHF. Audio is in normal. Speaker off. Interphone to the interphone position to enable inter-cockpit communications. Voice is set on both. Should be noted that if you're going to monitor an ident of a radio nav aid, it's sometimes helpful to go to ident only. It reduces some of the static. AOA radar altimeter as required. It says select enable or disable. You'll find that it'll be enabled for all our mission requirements. Okay, next step, UHF guard.
On.
Clocks.
Set pilot.
Set co-pilot. Here you'll be resetting the flight time, and then to check the elapsed time, you'll run it and then zero it. Next checklist item, emergency lights.
Checked, armed.
And here you're checking to see that power is supplied to the 4 emergency light packs located in the cabin. Airspeed tone.
Checked.
Landing gear tone.
Checked.
Indicator lights.
The gear unlock light. Checked.
Here for the indicator lights check, the first thing you want to do is look initially at the VSI. It's going to turn green and then red. You've got to look at that first because you've only got a finite time to see it before it extinguishes. Then after that, you'll ensure that all the other lights illuminate. The landing gear red landing gear unlocked indicator won't illuminate and has got to be pressed to test. In addition, the ground comm, engine start buttons, both of them, starter disengage button, and ELT annunciator will not illuminate. All right, step 12, master test system. Okay, the first thing you'll do is select the flap ASIM position with the master test switch. Flap ASIM caution annunciator will illuminate. You'll also get a go light. Then you'll position it to the left fire detect. You'll get a fire bell. The pilot will silence that. And you'll ensure the left engine fire push light is illuminated. You'll also get a go light. You'll then select the same thing for the right side. And you'll get the same indications. And then finally, master test switch off. Step 13, cabin smoke detector. I'll press and hold the cabin smoke annunciator until it illuminates and the warning horn actuates. You'll reset by pressing the smoke horn off button. Fuel system. For this, first ensure that the jet pump switches are in a normal position for a valid check. Then boost pumps, both of them off. Throttle idle, then cut off. You'll want to run them through their full range of movement to ensure there's nothing binding, and then return them to the cutoff position. Fuel press low annunciators, 2 of them should be illuminated. You'll gently lift the cover for the left fuel hydraulic valve switch and push. The left fuel hydraulic valve close light will be illuminated. Left boost pump on. Left boost pump operation light will be illuminated. And the fuel press low annunciators, 2 of them, will also be illuminated. Left fuel hydraulic valve switch lift, cover, and push. Left fuel hydraulic valve open light will illuminate. And the left fuel press low annunciator will extinguish. Left boost pump to auto. The left fuel press low annunciator will be illuminated. The left boost pump operation light will extinguish. And you'll repeat steps, the above steps for the right engine as well. Next step, fuel crossfeed. For this, we'll start with the left tank. After selecting the left tank, the left boost pump, right jet pump, and crossfeed in-transit operation lights illuminate. Then as the fuel crossfeed operation light illuminates, the crossfeed in-transit operation light extinguishes. After the boost pump pressure is sensed, the right jet pump operation light and both fuel press low annunciators extinguish. You'll then place the fuel crossfeed switch to the normal position. The fuel crossfeed operation light extinguishes, and the right jet pump and crossfeed in-transit lights illuminate. When the crossfeed valve is fully closed, the right jet pump, crossfeed in-transit, and left boost pump lights extinguish. Now we'll do the same thing for the right side. Common technique here is 4, 3, 2, 1, and none. Jip whiz. Now for the jip whiz check, you press the jip whiz test button momentarily.
System okay.
Now you heard the verbal voice warning there say system okay. You're also looking for 6 lights. The jip whiz test, pull up, the below glide slope, the jip whiz tack, active, jip whiz flap override, active annunciators. They'll illuminate. And as a technique to remember, you can remember 2, 4, 6. Okay, for the autopilot check, first of all, the pilot's going to engage the autopilot. We're going to verify that the pilot's EADI displays, and all of these will be green with one exception. The roll, the pitch, altitude select, and the autopilot left, and yaw damper as well, will all be green on the EADI except for the altitude select, which will be white. He'll then actuate the pitch trim, and this will disconnect the yaw damper, disconnect the autopilot rather. Yaw damper will remain engaged, and you'll hear the oral tone and the EADI yellow autopilot annunciator flash. He'll then re-engage the autopilot and then disengage it with the autopilot disengage switch. This will disengage both the autopilot and the yaw damper, and he'll get the appropriate indications on his EADI. We'll do the same thing from the co-pilot side, disengaging it first with the trim actuator and then the autopilot disengage. The 5th time will be the go-around button pushed by the pilot. He'll verify the autopilot disengages, yaw damper remains engaged. Finally, he'll disengage with the autopilot disengage switch and verify those previously mentioned annunciators. Autopilot.
Check disengage pilot.
Check disengage co-pilot. Trim system. Okay, for the trim system check, 2 things to keep in mind. One, that you want to actuate the pitch trim, the trim surfaces, engage the buttons long enough that you'll hear the warning horn, and that's about 5 seconds. Secondly, you want to confirm that the gauge actually shows the proper movement as it corresponds with the switch movement and what ground is indicating to you. So make sure that all those coincide. So beginning the trim system, nose up.
Leading edge moving down. Interrupt. No movement. Nose down. Leading edge moving up.
Interrupt.
No movement. Disconnect release. No movement. Emergency Emergency. No movement. 1/3 speed, nose down. Moving, leading edge, moving up. 1/3 speed.
Pitch trim.
Set for takeoff, pilot. Set for takeoff, ground.
Set for takeoff, co-pilot. Left wing down.
Left tab moving up. Right tab moving down. Interrupt. No movement. Right wing down. Right tab moving up. Left tab moving down.
Interrupt.
No movement. Disconnect, release. No movement. Left wing only. Left tab moving up. Only. Right wing only. Right tab moving up. Only. Right tab center. Left tab center.
Top pedal.
No movement.
Bottom pedal.
No movement.
Nose left.
Rudder tab moving right. Interrupt. No movement. Nose right. Rudder tab moving left.
Interrupt.
No movement. Disconnect, release. No movement. Tab is centered.
Trim system.
Checked pilot. I check ground.
Check co-pilot. Flight controls. Now for the flight controls, you want to ensure the correct movement of the elevator, spoilers, and rudder. You're going to do this from both the pilot and co-pilot seat. Visually look outside to try and look at the actual spoiler movement. And to avoid damage to the linkage, don't fully deflect the rudder during the flight control checks. Just enough to where the crew chief can confirm that you're actually moving the pedals.
Flight controls are clear. Elevator up. Elevator down. Left spoiler up, right spoiler down. Left spoiler down, right spoiler up. Rudder left. Rudder right.
And then we do the same thing from the right seat.
Elevator up. Elevator down. Left spoiler up, right spoiler down. Left spoiler down, right spoiler up. Rudder left. Rudder right.
Flight controls.
Check pilot. Check ground.
Check co-pilot before starting engine checklist completed.